Hello, welcome back. It's Monday. Is it Monday? It's Monday. Another day, another beautiful day in the neighborhood. Another beautiful day for stacking. Today we're going to be talking about your savings in the dollar. As you can see from the thumbnail, your savings on the dollar system are melting ice cubes in a frying pan. I tried to get the ice cubes, but it didn't make sense to make ice cubes made out of money, so I just put money in the frying pan. Okay, so if you're new here, my name is Roman. I speak about Bitcoin. I help you understand why saving in Bitcoin is your best option, and it's a beginner-friendly show. So if you have any questions, ask them during the stream at any point, or you can also leave a comment if you're watching the replay. First of all, shout out, round of applause to my live studio audience for Mr. Hard Huddle. What up? Hard Huddle in the house. If the price goes down, does that mean the value is down too? What is stranded energy, and how do I take advantage of it? All good questions, good questions. How much value are we saving today? I think we're doing still 40 bucks. I think we're still doing 40 bucks, $40 worth, because we won't know for sure during the stack recap, but I think we're doing a double stack again. It's pretty good. If the price goes down, does that mean the value is down too? What's important, I guess the way you would answer that question is in terms of what, right? In terms of dollars, it's going to appear as if the value is going down, right? But you still have the same amount of Satoshis, or the same amount of Bitcoin. So it depends, I guess. So is the right answer? What you're basing value on, right? If you're basing value on the dollar that's constantly increasing in supply and getting debased, it might look like it's losing value, but maybe it's not, right? If you're basing the value on terms of scarcity, right, and Bitcoin being the scarcest thing you can own, then is it going down? If the reflected price of Bitcoin in dollars is going down, I guess. Right? If you care about dollars, I guess it's going down. But if you care more about Bitcoin, then it's not going down because you understand what Bitcoin is, right? That's the way I kind of think of it. So on days when it does go down, I see that as a opportunity to buy at a cheaper price, since I know the reality of how scarce Bitcoin is. So, but if people are buying it just for the sake of making more dollars, then that's where the volatility comes in, right? People are trying to use it as a way to gain more paper money, but they should be using it as a way to ensure against the failure of that paper money, which is imminent. Okay, what is stranded energy, and how do I take advantage of it? Bro, you got a lot of great questions today. Let's answer that question too, since we're getting the show started. What is stranded energy? Stranded energy is energy that costs too much to take to market. So, for example, let's say there's an oil field somewhere, and that oil field is only producing enough oil to fill up like one tanker every 2 days, right? I don't even know how many gallons are in a tanker. And don't ask me why I know this, because I actually did look it up for a different reason. But let's say that oil field is still producing oil, but it's not producing it fast enough to make sense for the company to continue to use it. If it can't do like at least a tanker or two per day, right? So that would be considered stranded energy because it's not cost effective to withdraw it, right? Also, another thing that stranded energy could be like those very same oil fields could produce enough oil to warrant setting up like being able to fill up a bunch of tankers with oil, but one of the side effects of drilling for oil is you get like natural gas, right? It's just part of it. That natural gas, depending on what the price is, and again how far the market is to that natural gas source, it might not make sense to set up a whole pipeline network to transport natural gas from a oil field to a city, right? But if that city's too far, it doesn't make sense to build out all that infrastructure for the amount of natural gas that you're getting out of that specific well, right? So, but the energy is there, right? How would you take that stranded energy and make something productive with it? Well, that's where Bitcoin comes in, right? You take energy that you couldn't use otherwise, right? Unless you were lived in a remote oil field somewhere. You take that energy that can't be used anyway, that won't take away from the existing energy supply, and you convert it to electricity via like locally installed like generators. I've seen it done with like diesel generators hooked up to like a big trailer with a bunch of miners. And now you're taking that energy that would just go lost and leached into the atmosphere or burned off into the atmosphere with like flared. You take that energy and you convert it to electricity, and you take that electricity and you convert that, use that to power Bitcoin miners, and gives you hash rate. And in exchange for generating hash rate and mining for the Bitcoin network, you get rewards every once in a while, right? So you'll basically be earning. You're converting that stranded energy into actual economic energy, right? And with that economic energy, there's other stuff that comes along. You now have a way of converting that stranded energy into actual usable economic energy that doesn't matter where it is, right? Because there's no physical bounds to Bitcoin. It's on the net, it's on the internet, right? Well, as long as you get to the internet, you could do that with the cell site, right? Cell phone modem to that facility, and now you have internet access, and you have miners, and you have electricity. Boom, you're good to go, right? Other forms of stranded energy could be solar energy, right? Everywhere you look in the daytime, everywhere that's lit up, that has light landing on it, that's stranded energy, believe it or not. That's energy that goes unused. So we have tons and tons and tons of energy that goes unused every single day because we have the biggest power source, at the sun, right? So you could take some of that energy and of course capture it via cell with solar panels and that kind of stuff, and turn that into electricity, and then turn that electricity into hashing power, and then turn that hashing power into economic energy in the form of Bitcoin. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Instead of being connected physically by a road or power line, they are connected to the network by the internet. Exactly. Hard huddle. Awesome. So let's get back to let's go back. We'll talk a little bit more about the subject line of this episode and also the thumbnail. We show a frying pan with a stack of $100 bills on there. That's your savings in Bitcoin, your savings in dollars, right? And when you save in dollars, they're subject to a hidden tax, and that hidden tax is called inflation, and it's gonna get to your savings no matter what you do, okay? Because they don't even have to touch your actual savings. They could be in the bank, they could be in a safe, they could be under your mattress or buried in your backyard. It doesn't matter where your savings are. If they're in the form of dollars, then they're subject to debasement. Okay? How does debasement work? Well, when you have, for example, $100 in existence, and you're holding $10 of those $100 that are in existence, you in essence have 10% of the money supply. Okay? Now, in your bank account, it's going to say you have $10. But if you take the money supply and double it and make the whole money supply $200 because I'm the government and I can print more money, then now your savings, instead of representing 10% of the money supply, now your savings only represent 5% of the money supply. And you have been debased 5%, or 50% actually. You've been debased 50%. You've lost 50% of your purchasing power by no fault of your own and nothing that you did. You did the right thing. You saved your $10 in the bank account, or you saved your $10 and you're holding them for the future, right? So you can buy something in the future. And the government comes along, prints more money, debases your savings, and now they have half of your savings just by doubling the money supply. And the money supply continues to increase. Don't think it's not, okay? And when all these politicians, I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat, all these politicians are always trying to figure out ways to spend money they don't have, right? And when they spend that money, they print more money. And if your savings are in dollars, you're the one covering that cost, okay? So the main focus of the show is to get you to understand why saving in Bitcoin is the best thing you can do. And that's the core reason why you need to save in Bitcoin. That's the reason why Bitcoin was invented, right? In 2009, I believe, after the 2008 great financial crisis, when the government decided to bail out the banks in the form of just money printing and giving the banks money for the sake of saving the too big to fail banks that were supposed to help people stay in their homes, but instead foreclosed on them and pocketed the money, right? That was the biggest. That was one of the. That was one of the first times. That was one of the first times that the government decided to do a quantitative easing, which means they just printed a bunch of money. And when they printed a bunch of money, it cost the savers, the long-term savers, their retirements, right? Because as you double the money, as you increase the money supply, the purchasing power of the individual units goes down, and so stealing from you, right? Inflation is theft. That's where that statement comes from, right? And the best way to stay away from, the best way to shield your savings from that inflation, the best way to get your money out of that frying pan, is to convert your money into something that can't be debased and it can't be printed out of thin air like the dollar. You take that value, you buy Bitcoin with it, and when you do that, you're in essence saving in Bitcoin. Now, you'll have the most pristine asset you can own. It doesn't cost you anything to hold it once you have it, and you can hold it for a day, a month, a year, 100 years. It doesn't cost you anything extra. Once you have it, you hold it, and you let the world do its thing. And the money and the dollar will continue to debase and lose purchasing power. And in so doing, it'll take more and more of those weaker dollars to buy the same amount of Bitcoin that you already have. And you'll be set up. You're becoming wealthy over time just by holding it. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the show during the Why We Stack segment. Actually, that Why We Stack segment is coming up next. And then we're also going to show you guys that we've actually been doing it here on the show. Since May 22nd, 2023, we've been saving in Bitcoin about $5 a day, then $10 a day, and now we're doing $20 a day. And recently we've been doing $40 a day because the price is down so far for our average in 2025. But we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. For now, let's jump into the Why We Stack segment. Yeah, Why We Stack segment. Here we go. There it is. Why We Stack. All right. So to keep it short and sweet, only talking about one of the benefits of saving in Bitcoin. Not talking about the other virtues that you could call properties of Bitcoin. The property of Bitcoin that we care most about here on the show is the ability to shield your savings from that inflation monster. Okay, from that inflation tax. Okay, from the thing we just talked about. Okay, when you save your money and when you save your value in Bitcoin, it allows for the inflation process to actually work for you instead of against you. Okay, when you save in dollars, you can save in something for the future, and the longer you save, the less your purchasing power your savings will have by the time you get to the point where you want to spend it, or you get to your goal that you're trying to get to. Okay, let's say you're trying to buy like a car or a house or down payment on a house, and it costs you X amount. You need to save about a year or 2 years or 3 years to get to that amount. By the time you get to that amount in 2 or 3 years, the effects of inflation at about 10%, 8%, 9% are gonna manifest in that. By the time you get to the number you thought you needed in 2 or 3 years, that number is gonna be about 30% more, 40% more than you thought in order to do the same thing. So you have to keep saving. And as you keep saving, it's like it keeps the price keeps getting away from you. You're never gonna catch up. So you might be able to save for a house, or a down payment for a house or a car, if you work extra hard, 2 jobs and an Uber on the side, right? But as long as you're saving in that flawed money system, and it's not just the dollar, it's any government money system. It's the peso, anything that the governments can just print. As long as you're saving in that, you're swimming up a waterfall. You're swimming up a waterfall, and it's not going to make sense. You won't be able to get to that goal. Okay, now contrast that with Bitcoin. When you save in Bitcoin, since Bitcoin cannot be debased and you can't inflate it, you're buying the most pristine thing. As the dollar gets debased, the value of Bitcoin against the dollar goes up in terms of dollars because it'll cost you more and more of the weaker money to buy the same amount of Bitcoin. Okay, so just by buying and holding Bitcoin, you are beating inflation, right? And actually, Bitcoin's performing way better than inflation. It's performing about 55% a year. So you, in essence, just by saving in Bitcoin, you're defending your savings from inflation, and you're becoming more wealthy over time just by holding it. Okay. And yes, there's other asset classes you can invest in. You can invest in real estate. You can invest in stocks and bonds and all that stuff, right? But all that stuff has inherent costs that are continuous. So you get management fees. You got yearly taxes on your property. You got repair costs. You have insurance costs, right? And all of those costs affect a percentage of your. All those costs will cost you a percentage of your portfolio, every year. And if you hold it long enough, just those costs will eat away at your portfolio. So by like 30 years, 100 years, maybe 30 years, 50 years, you'll have to have paid just as much to keep that thing, like that house, that real estate, right? So with Bitcoin, you don't have that. You don't have that cost of ownership. You just basically buy it, take custody of it. You'll pay the fee for it to transfer to your own Bitcoin wallet. And once it's in your Bitcoin wallet, it's like you don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to do anything else, and it'll continue to retain its value. You look at it, you say you transfer it over 0.1 Bitcoin, right? 1 million Satoshis. Is that 0.1 Bitcoin, 1 million Satoshis? No. 0.001 Bitcoin. That's 1 million Satoshis, right? Say you transfer it over 1 million Satoshis, 0.001 Bitcoin today, and you actually have 0.001 Bitcoin on your account, on your Bitcoin wallet today, or in 10 years, in 100 years, in 200 years, when your descendants look to your wallet and find it, it'll still be 0.001 Bitcoin. It won't go up and it won't go down. It'll be the same exact amount of Bitcoin, right? Even if you don't do anything else, because there's no bank management fee, there's no convenience fees, there's no late charges, there's no minimum balance fees, there's no taxes on it because you haven't sold it, right? It's just being held. And so it doesn't leak. It doesn't leak value the longer you hold it, right? So you in essence have a pristine asset that you can basically teleport value through to the future, right? A lot of the time they go back to that old South Park episode where these people come back from the future to work like any job they can get to just put money in the bank so that in the future they'll be rich. And I thought that was hilarious. They're kind of like that episode was actually like a statement on like immigration, right? But they did it in a way to not say immigration, right? So basically, they said like these people from the future coming back here to work whatever they can to, right? Because in their future, the value of their efforts today was worth a lot more. Okay, well, this is actually a way to teleport value to your future descendants, right? Without having to have any intermediaries involved. There's no banks involved or anything like that. You work extra hard, and you save a little extra on the side for your future family, future descendants, or whatever, and they get to see the value of that work in the future once the dollar continues to debase beyond, and maybe we're on a whole different currency, right? Your Bitcoin will still be there, and it'll probably be worth a lot more than you put into it, right? So it's pretty cool. Anyway, long story short, why do we save in Bitcoin? We save in Bitcoin because saving in Bitcoin is like traveling back in time and giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you already worked for as long as you hold the Bitcoin that represents those hours. That's it. That is Bitcoin in a nutshell from the perspective of a savings tool. There's a whole lot of other aspects of Bitcoin that are amazing, but there's too many to cover in this short show. So we focus here on saving in Bitcoin, taking custody of your Bitcoin, and repeating the process so that you can be better prepared for the future and save in the best asset you can. Okay. All right. That said, we don't only talk about stacking Bitcoin here Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. We actually do it. So here's a little recap of our stack so far since May 22nd, 2023. It's time for the stack recap. Here we go. I don't even think we did this. I think we missed the price of Bitcoin today, huh? We did. We'll do it in this. We'll do it here. The price of Bitcoin right now is $84,059.39. You can buy 1,189 Satoshis for a single dollar. That's 11 Satoshis for a penny. It's a deal. Such a deal. All right. So today, in 2025, our savings so far are $2,060. That's gotten us about 2.2 million Satoshis. That's 0.022 Bitcoin. That amount of Bitcoin today at today's price is worth about $1,860. Not bad at all. But we're down about 10% for the year. Okay? But don't be scared. That's just the way Bitcoin is at the beginning. When you first get started, you're going to feel like you're losing, but just keep buying it on a regular schedule. We call that a dollar cost average on DCA. In 2024, we also saved for the whole year, and that stack, we saved about $7,345. It's currently worth about $10,000 for a gain of about 40%. Okay, it's 12.2 million satoshis, and if we were to try to go back, if we were to try and go and buy those 12.2 million satoshis today, it would cost us $10,000, but we only paid $7,300 for them. So, right? That is 2024 recap, and now the whole stack for the show is about 0.3460735. We're getting pretty close to 0.35 Bitcoin. I don't know why 0.35 sounds more exciting. It's exciting though. I can't wait to get that, to cross that barrier. We're here for it. We want to get to one whole Bitcoin here on the show eventually, and hopefully the price doesn't run away from us before we can get to 1 Bitcoin. So anyway, 0.3460735 is the current stack for the whole lifespan of the show. That's it. Have any questions, do put it in the chat. And that said, since today the price of Bitcoin is below our average buy price in 2025 of $95,000, today we're going to buy a double stack, which is $40 worth of Bitcoin. So that's what's up. We're going to do that right now. Man, waiting for the song, man. Perfect. Okay, now that we know how much Bitcoin we're going to buy, there's only one thing left to do. It's time to stack some Bitcoin. Choo! All right, here we go. Bringing up the old Strike app. Oh. Strike. Okay, hitting the buy button. Buy, and I'm going to key in $40. $40. Going in. Next. All right, I'm at the confirmation page. Looks like I'm gonna get it at about 84,000. Let's cut the music and start the drum roll. Drum roll, please. Hit and confirm on the $40 purchase of Bitcoin here on the Stack Bitcoin Show live. There it is. Just like that, we've stacked an additional 46,997 satoshis to the stack. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 2025. It's about the same price as it was on Friday. That's crazy. Today's 3/17/25. Is it St. Patrick's Day today? Pipeline Podcast in the house. It's just hard huddle on today because I was only person on this stream. Is it just hard because today I saw only? No, it's all right. Hey, we're out here, Pipeline. I appreciate when you can jump, when you can sign it, when you can jump in. But even if I'm on here streaming to myself, documenting the journey to 1 Bitcoin is I got to do it. I have to do it. So even if you can't make it, I'll be here streaming, documenting the stack to 1 Bitcoin because it's important. And I haven't seen anybody else do that. So I need to do it. I need to finish the mission. Get to 1 Bitcoin. Get to 1 Bitcoin. There it is. Today we stacked $40. We got 46,997 satoshis for our troubles. And that puts us at $2,100 saved in Bitcoin in 2025. Now we're going to take that data and put it into the spreadsheet for the whole show. And let's see how close we get to making that 4 into a 5. There we go. So it's 3460. 3460. Here we go. 3460 turns into 3465. It's not bad. It's not bad. We're getting there. What's that guess to? In Satoshi name I mine. Amen. Nice. Bitcoin the token, blockchain the ledger, proof of work the consensus. There we go. There we go. I think Hard Huddle's been brushing up on those. Been brushing up on the on Bitcoin protocol. All right. So that is the show. We stacked. We educated a little bit. Got a little bit of knowledge out there. If you're watching the replay of this show, do me a favor, subscribe if you haven't already. Like the stream if you've learned anything. If you have any questions about anything I've said so far, or any questions about Bitcoin that you want me to answer, do me a favor and do the rest of the world a favor. If you have a question and you ask it, you create the opportunity for me to create more content for somebody that actually might need that and have the same question you have. So be brave, ask your questions in the chat or ask your questions in the comments if you're watching the replay, and I will answer them in a following show. Pipeline Podcast says, I saw this on YouTube. I saw this one YouTuber who's got sats. His name and his stacking on $1 a day to get 1 million sats. I'm stacking $5 a day, and I don't even think I will make 1 million sats this year. He's stacking $1 a day. Damn. How's it gonna take to get 1 million sats? Damn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's gonna take a long time. That's like 0.001, right? 0.001. So let's see, 84,000. 1, 2, 3 times 0.001. Oh, $84. Okay, it's not bad. So at this price, it'll take him $84. So it'll take him 84 days. 84 days to get 1 million sats, unless I'm wrong. Or no, am I wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it's 0.01. 0.01. Yeah. So 840 days. 840 days, right? I stacked $1 in 2016. It will pay off. I promise. Yeah, it's true. That's very true. It's going to take them a long time, but the whole point is that for them to start stacking, once they start stacking and seeing, it's like the same thing happened to us here on the show. We're like, oh, we'll do $5 a day, $5 a day, $5 a day. And then you see that growth, and Bitcoin just changes you, dude. It makes you a saver. Bitcoin changes you from a spender into a saver, because you see that, hey, if I just don't buy this thing that I don't really need, I can buy 2 of them in the future. I can buy it in the future and still have some money left. Oh, shoot. All right, boys. Let's wrap up the show. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know it gets a little repetitive, but hey, we got to keep doing this. We got to keep stacking. Okay? So I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. Slow and steady, working our way to 1 Bitcoin. 1 Bitcoin. Right now, our goal is to get to 0.35 Bitcoin. We're getting there. Okay? And hopefully we get to 500 subscribers here soon in the future. If you're watching this show and you enjoy it, subscribe. Help me out. Share the show if you enjoy it. Share the show with somebody you think should learn about Bitcoin, doesn't understand it. Today's episode in particular, I enjoy the way it came out. I think it was pretty informative. So I'll talk to you tomorrow for another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. But until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. Later. Nailed it. Later, guys. Hard Huddle in the house. Pipeline Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you guys tomorrow.